in our final part here, we're going to go over vocal mixing for our track. So we have an acapella here in our pack that was made to go with these song stars we had here, these music loops. So what we're going to do here is drag it in like we already did. I'm going to click it. We're going to change the mode to stretch. We're going to click the top right here and click fit to tempo. And we know the original tempo is 121 BPM. So I'm going to click type in BPM. We're going to type in 121. That's going to stretch it out for us. So we're going to move this over to where the verse starts. And we also know that we lowered our song stars by 2 semitones. We're going to do the same with our vocal here. Trying to get my body away. Alternatively, if you want a little bit more of a natural sound, you can open a Lil Alter Boy, which is a really popular vocal manipulation plugin. You can just lower the pitch by 2. It gives a slightly different sound. Trying to get my body away. Tries to keep the timbre of the original vocal, so it doesn't sound like it's a super pitched. It's really personal preference, whatever you think sounds better. I personally kind of am cool pitching it down to semitones, so we're going to do that. Trying to get my body away, but you took me back. The reason I love our packs is how ready to go the vocals come in it. As you can hear, this vocal is super high quality. It sounds great. The vocal is great. And it comes with a wet version, but obviously we're using the dry for this tutorial because I'm going to give you guys kind of a crash course in vocal mixing here. But I'm going to go over everything just so you can get the basic idea of what we're doing. So the first thing we're going to do here is open a Fruity limiter. I try to get my body away, but you took me back to the fire. Yeah, and I burn again. So you could tell here that these parts here, they look noise gated or it's just recorded in a really quiet environment. So sometimes you might have a vocal that has a slight background noise in the back. That's not a big deal, but when they stop singing, you can hear it. What you do get rid of that is put up the threshold on this noise gate section and then put the gain to 0. And that means when it goes under this threshold right here, the vocal will cut out, and then you keep the release at default 50 milliseconds so it doesn't sound too abrupt. I try to get my body away, but you took me back to the fire. Yeah. You kind of see it working right there. It's cutting out some breaths and whatnot. Next thing we're going to do is open a free parametric EQ. So up next, you're going to sweep for bad vocal frequencies. So basically what that entails is taking different EQ bands, lowering the bandwidth to 0, and kind of poking around here trying to find something. I try to get my body. Something that makes your ears kind of ring. You'll know when you hear it. I try to get my body away, but you took me back to the. So right here you can hear that kind of making your ears ring. We're going to lower that about 6 dB, and then we're going to widen it a tiny bit. I try to get my. And you can do that as many bands as you want until you find all the frequencies you want to remove. I try to get my body away, but you took me back to the. Right here sound not great. There's no right or wrong way for how many to do. It's really whatever to your preference or whatever you think is necessary. I try to get. We're also going to cut out all the lows here because we don't need that. You want to cut out as much of the lows as you can without the vocal sounding filtered. So you can start up here and then work your way back. I try to get my body away, but you took me back to the fire. Sounds good. I try to get my body away, but you took me back to the. And what that's doing here is that it's kind of cutting those frequencies a little bit because it all adds up at the end. When you're mixing, those frequencies really come into play when it's playing with all the other elements, and we don't want that. I'll do a couple more here. I try to get my body away, but you took me back to the fire. Yeah, and I burn again. After this, we're going to slap another EQ on here, and we're just going to raise the highs about 3 or 4 dB. I try to get my body. We want those highs to really come through, to cut through the chorus, especially, but really the whole song. I try to get my body away, but you took me back to the fire. Up next, we're going to compress. There's obviously so many different compressors you could use. The goal of compressing is, you see the song, the vocal here kind of goes up and it's quieter in some parts. We want it to all kind of be one volume, so it's easiest to control and mix over the whole song. The easiest way I learned this, I'm a visual learner personally, so the free limiter you can also use as a compressor, because at the end of the day, a limiter is just a compressor with an infinite ratio. So we're going to play our vocal.
I try to keep my body away, but you took me back to the fire.
So you kind of see some of those peaks there. We're trying to tame those. So we're going to put the threshold to the middle of our vocal signal about. We're going to put the ratio up to about 3.5. Between 2.5 and 3.5 is usually good for lead vocals. And then we're going to put the knee up about 15%.
I try to keep my body away, but you took me back to the fire.
So you can see and you can hear the compressor working there and kind of taming some of those peaks. Up next, we're going to use one of our only non-stock plugins in this mixing, this vocal mixing part here. We're going to open a Fab Filter de-esser, and this is just going to get rid of those really harsh S sounds.
Spinning around, spinning around, spinning around.
So you hear that spin there.
Spinning around.
You can see here the green is working. I'll show you. I'll highlight it right here. You can hear them coming through here.
Spinning around too.
If you put all the way up,
Spinning around too. Spinning around.
it sounds a little too much, so we're just going to tone it back a little bit.
Spinning around too. I would like to stay too.
Alright, so that's sounding pretty good. Let's listen to all our effects off and then on. We're going to A-B a little bit, so there's off.
Spinning around too. I try to keep my body away,
And on.
but you took me back to the fire.
You could hear just the compressor working. It just sounds a lot more clean because of the EQs and the de-esser. So up next, we're just going to add a Valhalla vintage verb, which we've been using a lot in this tutorial. We're going to put the mix to about 15 to 20, I'd say. We're going to put the low cut up to like 700, maybe even 1,000. We don't want it reverberating any of the lower frequencies because that's just a mess. We're going to put the mode on plate because I really love plate reverb on the lead vocals, and we're going to put the decay to 3.3 seconds. Right here what it sounds like.
I try to keep my body away, but you took me back to the fire. I try to keep my body away, but you took me back to the fire.
Sounds great. Up next, we're going to throw a delay on there. Free delay 3. It works really well for this. We're going to do a ping pong delay. We're going to put the time down to, we're going to keep it actually at 4. We're going to put the cutoff down a little bit and the output down.
Trying to keep my body away.
Wow, so this vocal sounds so good right now. Let's A-B it a little bit. So this is without all the effects.
I try to keep my body away,
And this is with them.
but you took me back to the fire.
Sounds really, really good. Lastly here, we're just going to put another free limiter, and we're just going to essentially put some makeup gain in here from our compressor. We're going to put our ceiling down to -6 here and just make sure that the peaks are hitting the top.
I try to keep my body away, but you took me back to the fire. Yeah, and I burn.
Perfect. And now we're going to see how it sounds with our whole song and see what we can change here.
I try to keep my body away.
Go lower the volume a little bit.
I try to keep my body away, but you took me back to the fire. Yeah, and I burn again. I'm spinning around you.
Sounds super cool. So for our pre-chorus here, we kind of have the hook, and we're just going to repeat it for the actual chorus.
So I got you, I got you. I can let you go, not right. So I got you.
So we'll hear how it sounds on our chorus.
So I got you, I got you. I can let you go, not right. So I got you, yeah. I got you. Wake me up and turn the lights. So I got you, I got you.
So since our pre-chorus is the same as the hook, I'm gonna add a little something special for the hook here. We're going to put the vocal to a we're gonna route to another mixer track. We're gonna do harms, and this is a good way to make some artificial harmonies or give it some character. If you have just a lead vocal, as we do here. So I made it. I routed to this own track. Now notice I didn't take it away from sending it to the master. Still want that to happen, but I did route to its own mixer track. I'm just gonna open a little alter boy here, and I'm gonna probably lower the pitch by 12 here, and put the formant down maybe 2. Give it a cool effect.
So I got you. I can't let you go, not.
But I don't want it playing exactly the same volume and whatnot as the lead, so I'm going to lower it quite a bit.
So I got you.
I'm also going to put a dimension expander on and make it really, really wide.
So I got you.
I'm also going to put an EQ on here.
So I got you.
Lower a lot of the highs so they don't collide with the lead, and cut out some of the lows as well.
So I got you.
We really just want that body that's giving it. I'm going to put a fruity balance at the end of it, and I'm then going to automate that volume so it only comes in during our hook, like I said. I'm also going to make a slight change to our pre-chorus here. I'm going to make it cut out right before it says that I got you part going into the hook. I think it might sound pretty cool.
I'm not right, so I got you. Yeah. I got you. Wake me up in time. So I got you. Wake me up in time. Wake me up in time. So I got you.
Now I'm going to have our harmony come in.
Wake me up in time. So I got you. I got you. I can't let you go. I'm not right, so I got you.
Very cool. So that about does it. We picked a music loop from our function loop sample packs. We picked out drums, we sequenced the drums, we built the track skeleton, we built the chorus, we mixed vocals, and now we have a full song. So I think the last thing to do here is listen to our song.
Trying to get my body away, but you took me back to the fire. Yeah, I burn again. I'm spinning around you. I would like to stay too. I'm coming back and I'm blind. Baby, did you love me again? So I got you. I can't let you go, not right. So I got you, yeah. I got you. Wake me up in tunnel. So I got you. I can't let you go, not right. So I got you, yeah. I got you. Wake me up in tunnel. So I got you. I can't let you go, not right.
Very cool. You notice that during the playthrough, the last thing I did here is I just made the second half of our art play an octave up as well. Just to give it a little bit of differentiation. But yeah, that about does it. I hope you took some stuff from this course that you can implement to your own productions, that you learned something. And yeah, that about does it. So for Function Academy, I'm Kyle. I'll see you next time.